On a different note, but to Meta, it was revealed at the public inquiry that during the 2019 election, the Prime Minister's Department, the PCO, asked Facebook to remove a Buffalo Chronicle article on Justin Trudeau on the basis that it contained disinformation and risked threatening the integrity of the election. In response, Facebook removed the post. Was Facebook contacted by the Prime Minister's Department in the 2021 election with any request to take down Beijing-directed disinformation targeting now former Conservative Member of Parliament Kenny Chiu?
I'm not aware of any of those requests, but this is something that we can check with our internal teams and get back to you on.
Now established that it's now been established that during the 2021 election, the Beijing regime launched a sophisticated disinformation campaign using various social media platforms with the goal of defeating certain Conservative candidates and re-electing Justin Trudeau. Was Facebook contacted by the Prime Minister's Department to take down disinformation about then Conservative leader Erin O'Toole?
I can chime in here, Dr. Henley, and you should comment as well. To my knowledge, we were not contacted by anyone in the Privy Council office or Global Affairs.
And that related as well to more broadly the disinformation campaign directed by Beijing targeting Conservatives.
Quick response, please.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. And just for the sake of the witnesses as well, we're limited time for questions and answers, so don't take any offense if any of the members retake their time or reclaim their time from you in the middle of a response. I just want to make that clear.
Let's get on here now to...
30 seconds, Mr. Trudeau.
Okay. I apologize. I thought that I was going to be having a little bit more time here. We have heard all about Russian disinformation, and this can go to Mr. Fernandez or Ms. Kern. All we hear about in Parliament is far-right Russian disinformation. Isn't it true that the greatest source of disinformation, particularly when it came to the 2021 election and what resulted in Mr. Kenny Chiu losing his seat, was actually from the PRC? Is that correct?
We may have to come back. I'm going to give you like one-word answer. That's it.
Dr. Henley.
I cannot quantify the amount of disinformation in the 2021 election.
You can circle back on that, Mr.
I'm going to go back to a question that I had asked at the end of my last round, and that was the fact that the Prime Minister's Department was very quick to get in touch with Facebook when it had identified an article that contained disinformation about Justin Trudeau. But during the 2021 election, the Prime Minister's Department, the PCO, as far as Ms. Kern was aware, made no contact with Facebook in the face of a wave of disinformation by the Beijing regime directed at Kenny Chiu and other Conservative candidates to defeat them and to help re-elect Justin Trudeau. So to the other witnesses representing the other social media platforms, were you ever contacted by the Prime Minister's Department, the PCO, during the 2021 election about Beijing's disinformation efforts? Mr. Fernandez.
I personally was not, no.
As I mentioned in my...
And I don't mean you personally, I mean X.
I'm not sure. We'd have to go back to our records and check. Thank you.
As I mentioned in my opening statement, TikTok worked with PCO to sign on to the declaration during the 2021 election, but I'm not aware of any specific escalations that came to TikTok during that period.
30 seconds.
Ms. Patel.
Ms. Patel.
No, I am not familiar with any requests that would have come in 2021 with regards to your query.
Out from the rapid response mechanism, Ms. Curran?
No, we did not receive any requests in 2021.
Mr. Fernandez?
All right, I'm not sure. We'd have to go back and check.
Mr. Deere?
I'm not aware of any.
And Ms. Patel?
Oh, Ms. Patel.
No, I'm not aware of any.
telling.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Now, we've talked, this is about misinformation, disinformation, and we've talked a lot about community notes. And perhaps Ms. Hunley or Ms. Curran can help me out. I don't recall this. What is the equivalent of the Facebook community note?
So we have the largest global fact-checking network of any of the online platforms, and we work with over 90 different organizations around the world to fact-check content.
Okay. And so let's say you fact-check something and it is false. Then what?
So we have a range of treatments we can apply to it. We can apply a screen that says this content is false or partly false, and it will link to an external organization's website explaining what the fact-checking organization has found. We can also downrank or demote that content so that it is less visible to our users. For content that is particularly problematic, we can remove it altogether. So there's a range of different treatments.
And who decides what treatments a given post gets?
Yeah, our content review teams make the call on how content should be treated.
I see. Okay, and I mean the reason I'm asking this is because Mr. Dyer, in his opening, he talked about the prohibited information. It's a standard of some sort. I just have a kind of cryptic note here that I wrote to myself. Prohibited information that would cause significant harm. Do you recall that, Mr. Dyer?
Yep.
Yeah. So what's the threshold for significant harm?
My colleague Justin could describe that for you, please.
Hey, thanks for the question. So we consider a wide variety of harms that we remove, including election misinformation, such as undermining civic integrity, medical misinformation that may lead to significant physical harm or death, or things that may cause public panic or large-scale property damage, as a few examples.
Now, during an election, which, we're all parliamentarians here, we all use social media, but I think a lot of us, really don't enjoy the process because there's so much misinformation and frankly, a lot of really mean-spirited comments. But during an election campaign, which often is about 35, 36 days in Canada, we'll just go back to you, Mr. Elric. Is there a heightened awareness on TikTok's behalf with respect to these significant harms, or is it just kind of business as usual because there's just so much content to deal with?
Well, in the midst of elections, we take our responsibility to protect the integrity of the platform incredibly seriously and have a task force that are spun up to prepare and enforce all of our policies here. So we certainly do scenario planning and assess various different types of things that may happen and have dedicated teams looking to moderate and enforce content around election misinformation or hate or harassment, and partner as well closely with fact checkers who we leverage to assess the veracity of any of the claims that may come in.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Caputo.